The next game we're going to be covering here, 10 Texas A&M, the Aggies, gig 'em, taking on South Carolina, going down to Columbia. Read the way. Does A&M have an answer for this South Carolina pass rush when we talk about this game here?
Yeah, and it's almost like Marcel Reed is the guy to alleviate some of that pressure. You know, when a team is getting to the quarterback, often it helps to have a guy who can extend the play, a guy who can run the ball. I think if they went in this game with Wegman and asked him to sit in the pocket and avoid Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart, he would be in for a day, like a tough day there trying to stop these guys, because South Carolina's defense in stopping the pass has been super effective. So yeah, I think Marcel Reed is the guy. I think that South Carolina may have an answer for it at times, though.
Yep. I could definitely see them having to answer for it at times. I mean, we kind of, I think a litmus test in some ways was what we saw them do against Oklahoma, creating a ton of pressure in that game to get a pretty big win. Playing a mobile quarterback in that situation. A&M has proven to be a different beast, and I think the main key for them has been this O-line, creating running lanes for Le'Veon Moss, creating running lanes for Marcus Reed to make shifty moves. That's where I don't know what this pass rush can do against this rushing offense, but passing wise, I think South Carolina definitely has the ability to disrupt their flow from a passing perspective.
Yeah, I mean, they're third in the country sacks per game. The DB play has been phenomenal. Like, if only the offense at South Carolina could keep up, like they could really be something special this year. But they are playing spoiler to a lot of offenses and giving them a tough look. We saw it with Alabama. We saw it with LSU, even though they lost both of those games. The defense played lights out to what the offense was doing on the other side. Texas A&M right now, they're so rush heavy, but we mentioned it when we talked in our last episode, is that Reed can throw the ball. So it'll be interesting to see what they come out here with. If they do go with what they brought to the second half of the game last week, where it's strictly running, like whether it's Marcel Reed and designed runs or whether it's Le'Veon Moss, or do they kind of mix it up a little bit more? I'd be interested to see if they do something different here. They don't run a lot of play action with Reed, so that doesn't bode well for the mentality of South Carolina and getting to the quarterback. You're not going to really trick them because that's not what their goal is.
Right, absolutely, and it'll be interesting dynamic, right? I mean, if they're going to need to advance on some of these first downs, ideally you're thinking they're going to need to pass, so that should create more opportunity for them to pass. On South Carolina's side, what do you feel like the feeling should be when it comes around Lenore Sellers and what he could do in this game?
Yeah, it's tough. I don't think he's giving them strong opportunities. Like, he has those moments where he makes just great plays. He escapes a sack, peels out, and runs for 30 some yards. Like, he has those great moments, but he's just turning the ball over too much. I mean, they're bottom 5 in the country in fumbles per game. They're turning over the ball too often and putting their defense in tough spots, and that's how teams are scoring on them. So the feeling is like he has potential, but it's not coming through, or there's just you could have all these great plays, and if you fumble the ball, it doesn't matter.
Right. And I agree with you, right? And this A&M defense, from a rushing perspective, has proven to show that they can stop, big time rushers. Jaquindon Jackson against Arkansas. They're going to be facing a pretty good one with Raheem Sanders. And so if that is what has been South Carolina's bread and butter, has been running the football, they're in for a tough test against this A&M defense, led by Nick Scorton, who can also make key plays in the passing defense as well. But, you're riding with Lenore Sellers. They haven't put out Roddy Ashford back in for the most part the rest of the season. And so I guess from an optimistic perspective, you're hoping that they can stay on the field long enough to give this defense breaks as they're going against A&M in some ways.
Yeah. And they're going to try to throw the ball. I think they are, because A&M, you need to test the DBs. That's going to be because you're not going, like you said, you're not going to run the balls effectively. You're going to need to test the DBs, take some shots. We'll see if it happens for South Carolina that way. But yeah, the defense is the key. For the defense on both sides of the ball is the key. Right. Can South Carolina shut down A&M and win with less points? Like, can South Carolina win with less than 20 points is right. The question, right?
And a lot of teams haven't kept A&M under 20 points
No.
This defense has been able to force turnovers. This offense has been able to run on the ground, and so they're looking to do something that we haven't seen done to A&M by Florida, Missouri, LSU. It's a tough test for them for sure, but at least they have playing at home in to their advantage. It's a spot in some ways similar to when they were playing LSU, and a lot of people were kind of counting them out. And so this could be one of those games. Vegas thinks it's a 2-point spread for a reason. It could come down to the wire. So what's your final prediction in this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it is a close spread, and if it does play out that way, I do want to highlight kind of an impact player here for my key of the game for South Carolina, and it's Nick Amon-Warrior. I brought him up before in past week previews. He's played just as much in the box as he has at safety and corner.
Yeah,
he's going to be the one keeping eyes on the rush, looking for Marcel Reed, looking for Le'Veon Moss. He leads the team in tackles. If he flies around the field and stops them, then South Carolina can stay in the game. I think that they turn over the ball too often and A&M pulls away. I like A&M in here big, 33-16.
Ooh, okay. All right. Big giggle, not the little one.
No.
33. Okay. Okay. All right. I like A&M in this game. I think it'll be 28-14. I think it's a clean, domination. A&M will force a turnover. I think A&M has turnover in this game as well. They kind of get it going in the second half. I could see this being, 17-7 in the first half, and then, South Carolina gets a second score. A&M's kind of able to continue to score from there. But it should be a good one down in Columbia.
A&M's too unique right now with this running quarterback and running back duo.
They're different.